In her first grade classroom, 6-year-old Wyatt Kelce was crying, and her teacher, Mrs. Henderson, had never seen a child so distraught. Wyatt sobbed, her little shoulders trembling. "Nobody thinks that Taylor Swift is actually my aunt." For this young girl who merely wanted her friends to accept her as she is, everything would change when the classroom door opened 2 minutes later. It began on a Tuesday morning at Philadelphia's Gladwine Elementary School in March 2024. Wyatt always looked forward to show and tell the most. Additionally, she shared something truly unique with her classmates today. All morning, she had been bouncing in her seat, holding a small photo and waiting for her turn to speak. "Wyatt, could you tell us something today?" For the past 15 years, Mrs. Henderson has been the favorite teacher of all first graders thanks to her kind smile. Wyatt practically jumped up and ran to the front of the classroom, her dark hair bouncing. She held up her photo, and 20 pairs of inquisitive 6-year-old eyes stared at her. She proudly displayed a photo of herself sitting on Travis Kelce's shoulders during a Chiefs game and declared, "This is my Uncle Travis, and this is my Aunt Taylor." In the picture, Taylor Swift was seen laughing while supporting Wyatt on Travis's shoulders. The three of them were all sporting identical Chiefs jerseys. It was a candid family photo taken in the family box at Arrowhead Stadium that had never been made public. "When my Aunt Taylor visits our home, she sings me songs before bed," Wyatt went on in a proud tone. In addition, Uncle Travis showed me how to catch a football. "I am, according to Aunt Taylor, her favorite little Kelce." A mix of skepticism and gasps filled the classroom. Madison, 7, instantly raised her hand. Madison said, "That's not real," with the assurance that only a first grader could have. "Your aunt is not Taylor Swift. She's well known. Her families aren't typical," Wyatt protested, raising her voice. "She is to my aunt. When she's not on tour, she always joins us for dinner on Sundays." Tommy, who always sat in the back row and didn't trust anyone during show and tell, was challenged to prove it. "Why don't you have any videos of her if she is indeed your aunt?" Wyatt's expression dropped. Her parents always put their phones away during family time, so she didn't have any videos. That was the regulation. No phones during family game nights or Sunday dinners. However, how could she explain that to her classmates who were now staring at her as if she were making this up? "According to my mother, we don't document family time." Softly, Wyatt spoke. But she was beginning to lose confidence. "People who are lying say that," Emma, a fellow student, said. "According to my sister, Taylor Swift only associates with well-known individuals. Normal people like your family wouldn't be friends with her." Seeing that things were becoming out of control, Mrs. Henderson intervened. "Let's treat our classmates with kindness, kids. We appreciate you sharing your photo with us, Wyatt." However, the harm was already done. Wyatt heard the whispers around her as she went back to her seat. "She is fabricating it. It's likely a fake photo. According to my mother, he is now able to create phony images on computers." Wyatt endured torment for the remainder of the school day. When she attempted to sit with her regular friends for lunch, they barraged her with inquiries that she was unable to satisfactorily respond to. "Why doesn't Taylor Swift come get you at school? If she is indeed your aunt, why has she not been present at any school functions? Why would she want to hang out with a young child if she is so well known?" Wyatt felt as though every question was a knife to his heart. The kids she played with every day were her friends, and they didn't think she was telling the truth. Even worse, they were beginning to believe she was lying. Wyatt was fighting back tears by the afternoon when our class finally arrived. Wyatt's feelings finally exploded when Mrs. Henderson said they would be drawing pictures of their families. She added her younger sisters, Elliot and Bennett, after her parents. However, she began to cry on her paper when she reached the section where she wanted to sketch Uncle Travis and Aunt Taylor. "What's wrong, sweetheart?" With genuine concern in her voice, Mrs. Henderson knelt next to her desk. Wyatt used the back of her hand to wipe her nose and muttered, "Nobody believes me about Aunt Taylor. I'm not lying, despite what they believe. She is truly my aunt. When she comes to visit, she always remembers to bring me the nice crayons, reads me stories, and knows all of my favorite songs." This little girl broke Mrs. Henderson's heart. During her 15 years of teaching, she had developed the ability to distinguish between children's fantasies and realities. There was no doubt in Wyatt's voice that she was being honest. The precise information, the sincere feeling, the pain in her eyes at not being taken seriously. Mrs. Henderson whispered, "I think you, Wyatt, Even when extraordinary things are true, people can have trouble believing them. However, Mrs. Henderson's encouragement was insufficient to halt the stream of tears that had been accumulating throughout the day. Wyatt lowered her head to her desk and started crying. Deep, heartbroken sobs from someone who felt totally alone and misunderstood, not the theatrical sobbing of a child having a tantrum. She screamed, "Nobody believes that Taylor Swift is really my aunt!" Loud enough for the entire class to hear, but she is. "My aunt loves me and I love her, but no one believes me." Wyatt's sobbing was the only sound in the classroom. Now that they could see that their classmate was truly devastated, even the most doubtful kids appeared uneasy. There was a gentle knock on the classroom door as Mrs. Henderson tried to think of a way to reassure Wyatt. With an apologetic smile, Mrs. Rodriguez, the secretary of the school, peeked her head in. Mrs. Rodriguez interrupted, saying, "But Wyatt has some visitors who'd like to see her." Mrs. Henderson scowled. Unplanned parent visits during class hours were uncommon. Yes, visitors. Her mom is present along with, well, we'll see. It all changed when Mrs. Rodriguez said, moving aside, Kelce entered the classroom first. Anyone who followed Philadelphia sports could instantly recognize her face. All of the children in that classroom, however, froze in complete shock because of the person who followed her. Wearing sneakers, jeans, and a basic sweater, Taylor Swift appeared to be just another aunt picking up her niece when she entered Wyatt's first-grade classroom. She had a small bouquet of flowers in her hand and her blonde hair pulled back in a ponytail. It was so quiet in the room. "Hello, my love," Kylie said as she approached Wyatt, who was still sobbing at her desk. "We intended to pick you up from school today as a surprise." Wyatt looked up and stopped crying in the middle of her sob as she took in what she was seeing. "Mommy!" Aunt Taylor, with a kind grin that had captured the attention of millions worldwide, Taylor said, "Hey there, my favorite little Kelce." But for now, it was all about one 6-year-old who was devastated. "I'd heard that today was not going well for you." Wyatt almost threw the flowers to the floor as she threw herself from her chair and into a Taylor's arms. "Aunt Taylor, I was not believed by them. No one believed me when I told them you were my aunt." Taylor embraced Wyatt tightly while giving Kylie a look that made it obvious they had made the right choice in coming. "Don't you think that now they know that you were telling the truth all along?" The story becomes even more amazing from this point on. As they took in what they were witnessing, the other 21st graders in the classroom remained seated in stunned silence, their mouths hanging open. Madison was holding her pencil so tightly that her knuckles were white. Madison had been the first to accuse Wyatt of lying. With Wyatt still in her arms, Taylor turned to face the teacher and said, "Mrs. Henderson, I hope our visit was acceptable. I thought maybe I could help clear that up because Wattie's mom told me she was having trouble convincing her friends that we are family." Mrs. Henderson, a 15-year veteran teacher who believed she had seen it all, was utterly stunned. "This is wow, of course." Taylor held Wyatt's arm while gently seating her. According to Wyatt, some of her friends believed she was fabricating tales about her family. "I want everyone to know that Wyatt never tells lies, especially when it comes to the people she cares about." She glanced at all the wide-eyed kids in the room. "One of the most significant individuals in my life is Wyatt. I love her more than all the songs I've ever written combined, and she's my niece." "Is that you?" With all of his previous doubts gone, Tommy murmured from the rear of the room. Taylor laughed. "It's really me." Additionally, Wyatt has been honest with you the entire time. She attends my performances, we stay at her house for sleepovers. Furthermore, since the majority of her favorite songs are ones we co-wrote, I am aware of all of them. Pure magic ensued. "Do you want to listen to one of her songs?" 20 heads of the class enthusiastically nodded when Taylor asked, making Mrs. Henderson fear that someone might suffer whiplash. After sitting on the floor and bringing Wyatt into her lap, Taylor started singing a soft tune about a young child who was brave, kind, and adored by her entire family. It wasn't an album song, it was obviously something private, something that only Wyatt and Taylor should have. Wyatt joined in on the chorus as she sang. She spoke in a small but assured voice, and it was obvious that they had done this together numerous times before. Every child in the room could see that Wyatt was genuinely happy and that this was a true, genuine love between an aunt and her niece. The classroom erupted in cheers as the song came to a close. However, Taylor wasn't finished yet. She reached into the bag Kylie had been carrying and said, "I brought something for everyone." She produced autographed pictures of herself and Wyatt together, not glitzy promotional images, each with a personal note written on it. As she distributed them, Taylor explained, "These are photos of Wyatt and I from our family time together. To help you all remember that Wyatt was telling the truth, I want you to each have one. Thus, you always keep in mind to trust your friends when they tell you something significant." After getting Wyatt's picture, Madison was the first to approach her. Her voice was small as she said, "I'm sorry I said you were lying. I was unaware. I ought to have trusted you." Although she remained near Taylor's side, Wyatt said kindly, "It's okay. Even adults don't always believe children," but Madison insisted that I ought to have been a better friend. "Can we still be friends?" Wyatt smiled. Of course. She forgot all about her previous tears. Wyatt's classmates arrived, one by one, to offer their apologies and inquire about what it was like to have Taylor Swift as an aunt. Taylor was kind and patient as she answered all of the questions. The most important thing in the world was to treat every child as though they were curious. Emma asked, "Does she really sing to you before bed?" Wyatt proudly confirmed that she always stays over. In the morning, she also makes the best pancakes. Another child asked, "What is your favorite song that she sings?" Wyatt looked up at Taylor in awe and said, "The one about the little girl who dreams big. It was written specifically for me by Aunt Taylor." Taylor turned to speak to the entire class once more as the visit came to an end. She said, "I want you all to remember something very important. Wyatt is unique, not because she's my niece, but rather because of who she is. She is brave, honest, kind, and a wonderful friend. That's what makes a person genuinely unique." She gave Wyatt her full attention. "And I want you to know, my love, that you never need to show anyone that you are loved. You will always be believed by those who matter. Furthermore, your value is not determined by those who don't think you're valuable." However, the most exquisite aspect of this tale transpired during their departure. Taylor was bidding the kids farewell when Mrs. Henderson drew Kylie away. "I must inquire," she said softly. "How did you know you were coming today?" Kylie grinned. "Why give me a call at lunch? If a child is truly upset, the school allows them to call their parents." I could hardly understand her because she was crying so much, but I managed to get enough information to understand what was going on, and Taylor arrived. According to Kylie, I texted her on the way to school. She responded right away when I explained what was going on. There, we'll meet. Because she's that kind of aunt, she boarded her plane and flew here while she was in the middle of a recording session in Nashville. Mrs. Henderson gave a startled shake of her head. "I have been a teacher for 15 years, and I have never witnessed anything like this." As Kylie watched Taylor sign a final autograph for a child, she remarked, "That's because there's never been an aunt like Taylor. She doesn't simply declare her love for Wyatt. She arrives." Mrs. Henderson was unaware that Taylor had previously sacrificed everything for Wyatt. Taylor had arrived at their home with a guitar and played a private concert in Wyatt's bedroom last Christmas after Wyatt missed the school holiday concert due to a bout of the flu. The following night, Taylor surreptitiously placed a special coin and a handwritten note beneath Wyatt's pillow after she lost her first tooth and was upset that the tooth fairy hadn't arrived. These were not ostentatious public displays, they were the silent displays of affection that take place in families on a daily basis. How often does she do this? With genuine curiosity, Mrs. Henderson inquired about the woman she had only seen on TV and in magazines. "More than you'd imagine," Kylie said. Taylor knows what it's like to feel different, to have people not understand your world or believe you. She never wants Wyatt to experience loneliness the way she did as a child. Mrs. Henderson watched as Taylor made sure all of the students were visible in the class selfie. "Isn't she gonna post that?" "Most likely." In a humorous caption, Kylie expressed her pride in her niece and the incredible nature of these children. "Taylor never passes up the opportunity to express her love for our family to the world." Wyatt was practically jumping with excitement as they made their way to the car. As they arrived at the parking lot, Wyatt remarked that the other kids were pressed up against the classroom windows, waving and shouting goodbye to their new favorite celebrity, Aunt Taylor. "Yes, dear, I appreciate you visiting my school. No one will ever doubt me again." Taylor dropped to Wyatt's knees. "Wyatt, you know what? The truth would still have been the same even if they didn't believe you. My niece is you." Words cannot express how much I love you, and no one's words or thoughts can ever alter that. But when you are believed, it feels better. Why? It's spoken with a wisdom that occasionally emerges from young voices. You're entirely correct, Taylor concurred. Yes, it feels better. Additionally, I will always make sure that everyone is aware of how unique you are. When Wyatt began second grade 6 months later, the school knew her as the girl whose Anna is Taylor Swift. More significantly, though, she was regarded as self-assured, compassionate, and unafraid to speak the truth, even when it seemed impossible. One of Taylor's most cherished photos is the one taken that day, which shows her sitting on the classroom floor with her hands folded wide in her lap, while 20 first graders look on in awe, not because it featured her with admirers, but rather because it caught her in the act of being the aunt who shows up. Exactly what she had always desired. How do you feel about this amazing tale of familial love and the importance of being there for those you love? When others didn't believe in you, have you ever had someone in your life who did? Leave a comment below with your thoughts. Because the love that exists in families behind the scenes can sometimes be the subject of the most heartwarming tales. For more touching tales about the ties that shape who we are, please hit the like button and subscribe if this story served as a reminder that true love entails being there when it counts most.